The Morrison government is expected to announce financial support today for Victorians with the lockdown extended. The state government has been pushing for a JobKeeper-style scheme to be introduced. Let's bring in our political editor, Andrew Clennell. Andrew, talk us through what we're expecting here.
Well, what we're expecting is some form of scheme which will take us through extended lockdowns going forward. It will involve a 50-50 contribution, I understand, from the state and federal government. It's likely to come in the form of some sort of payment for workers who've been stood down during that period. And it is quite a turnaround for the federal government. Now, for a few days, Tom, I've been suggesting the federal government could take advantage of this and put some conditions on such sort of lockdown payments. I understand that is about to occur. So I understand that the conditions that go to these future payments might be something like you can shut down a city, but not your entire state, for example, which was the change that was made by Victoria yesterday. This is a way going forward for the federal government to have a say in how state governments lock things down. Now, the federal government is determined not to criticise the Victorian government, but privately, federal government sources have, to me, expressed concern with the difference between the situation with Victoria and their need to lock down with a small number of cases against, say, New South Wales. We know that people were telling us for quite some time that they didn't want to set a precedent here which would encourage lockdowns, but I guess the political pressure is such the federal government feels it has to act. One person in the federal government said to me this morning that it's a bit like economic sanctions against a country to punish a leader, but that actually punishes the workers and the businesses, and that's not what the federal government wants to do here. It is quite a turnaround, though, and we know Scott Morrison is flexible on some of these matters. You'll hear from him one position, or from his government one position, and then he'll see the political writing on the wall, I guess, and change position. And that's what it sounds like is going to happen with this announcement that Josh Frydenberg has foreshadowed.
Because the most interesting thing about this is it was supposed to be a principled position, not just about the money they were on the hook for, and now the principles changed.
Well, and one thing that has been put to me is that's partly because they were hoping it would only be a 7-day lockdown. They could weather the heat from that. But with 14 days now, it appears they have to act. We saw a bit of a switch on this in question time. Scott Morrison saying he was talking to the acting premier, and Josh Frydenberg would be talking to Tim Pallas. I think there was some frantic conversations yesterday afternoon after question time, and we've come up with this result. I'm surprised, I have to say, but politically, I guess it's a smart thing to do. I think the key is really setting those conditions and trying to get yourself in a position where you're not just paying every state or people of every state for locking down, spending the taxpayer money. You're ensuring the lockdowns aren't unnecessarily severe.